These are assembly instructions for my countdown bell tower. I'm starting with the 3 largest panels that are in the file, and this is the center part of my tower. I've already folded down on all the score lines. The brick pattern on the side of my tower is an image that I found on the internet, and I've printed it on a piece of 12 by 12 Cricut cardstock. And I've used those pieces to cut the sides of my tower. These 2 pieces are very similar. One of them has the letter L drawn on it, and the other one has the letter R drawn on it. And that's to help me distinguish between the left side and the right side. And then I have my back piece, and it doesn't have any tabs on it. So on my left-hand piece, I'm putting glue on my tab from the score line to the edge, making sure that the top and the bottom are even, and I'm just gluing that panel to the back section. I want my score line to be right on the cut edge of my back panel. And I'm going to do that with the right hand side as well. And then making sure that that cut edge is right up against the fold or the score line. And so all panels should be even at the top and at the bottom. And then I have 4 brick pieces with little windows cut out of them. I'm going to put one of them aside for now. And then I'm joining the 3 others by putting glue on the score line to the edge on the side tab, making sure they're even at the top and even at the score line at the bottom, and then just gluing them together. And I'm doing that twice. And then I have 3 brick pieces that have little tabs at the bottom. I'm just folding down on the top tab, the side tab, and the 2 tabs at the bottom. Then I'm putting glue on the side tab from the score line to the end and joining my pieces together just like I did for the windowed pieces. I want the cut edge of my piece to be right along the score line of that tab, and I'm repeating that for the 3rd piece as well. So next I have my middle piece again. So I'm putting glue on the 3 tabs that are at the top of the bottom part of my tower. I'm just placing them right at the bottom. I want the vertical score lines to match up. I want the score line to be right up against the cut edge of my middle piece. And then I'm doing the same thing with my top piece. I'm putting glue from the score line to the edge on those 3 bottom tabs. And then I'm matching up my 3 panels. I want the vertical score lines to be continuous. So next I have these pieces. They're like the letter U with a bunch of tabs on them. I'm just folding down on all the tabs. So I have 12 of these, and I'm going to insert them all the exact same way. So I have my letter U upside down, and I am inserting the tabs that are at the back into those little slots that are at the very top. Then I'm going to flip my piece and putting glue on both those tabs. Then I'm pulling them as far as they will go, and then gluing them flat onto the outside of my tower. And I'm going to do that with all 12 of my U-shaped pieces. You want that solid part towards the back, and you want that opening towards you. So when you're done, you should have them all glued in with those tabs showing on the exterior of your tower. So next I have the decorative columns that are for the outside of my tower. So I have 3 different lengths. I have the shortest length, which is for the bottom part of my tower. I've already folded down on all the score lines for all my column pieces, and I'm just putting glue on that tiny little tab that's at the end. I'm bringing the cut edge right to that fold, and then I'm popping it up again, and that's going to form these little rectangular columns. So I have the short one, I have the medium one, and I have 8 of each, and they go together the exact same way. And then I have the long ones with the tabs. For these, I'm going to fold the tabs out of the way, and then I'm putting glue on that thin little tab, so just in between those tabs that I've folded upwards. I'm not gluing those tabs down, but I want the rest nice and adhered. I have to put glue from the edge here to the edge there, and then just flatten my piece so that the cut edge is right against the score line. That will leave me with my little rectangular column with 3 tabs on it. So I have 8 of those to fold down the exact same way. So now I'm back with my tower piece, And then I have two of my long column pieces. So before I go any further, I'm going to glue these in. I'm inserting all three of those tabs into the three slots over one set of tabs. I'm folding back my U pieces so that I can gain access to the tabs. I'm putting glue on the underside of those tabs, gluing them down. So all three tabs need to be glued in. Putting glue on the underside. I'm pulling them so that they're as far as they're going to go, and then I'm just pressing down on them to adhere them to the inside. So this column is going to hide those tabs and adds a decorative finish to the outside of my tower. I'm taking a second column and I'm doing the exact same thing, inserting my three tabs into those slots, flipping my piece over, gluing all three tabs down. You just have to pull these U-shaped pieces out of the way. So next I'm going to glue in the right hand side of my U-shaped pieces. I'm threading those tabs on the right hand side through the slots that are on my side panel. I'm putting glue on the underside of those tabs. I'm pulling them through as far as they will go and just gluing them down to the side of my tower. And so when both sets of tabs are glued down, I'm going to take another one of my column pieces with the three tabs, and I'm going to insert the tabs into the three slots, just like I did for the back. And then I'm going to go on the inside of my tower, put glue on those three tabs, pull them as far as they'll go, and glue them down to the interior, just like I did for the back. So I'm going to insert the column for the front tabs as well, and glue the tabs down in the same manner. And then I have all those tabs at the front on my right side. I'm covering all 12 of them in glue, and then I'm gluing them to that little front strip on the right of my tower. So I'm just kind of pinching them in place and making sure that they're glued down properly. So next I'm going to do the exact same steps on the left hand side. So next I'm going to decorate the window panels for the top of my tower. I have 4 panels to decorate and they all go together the exact same way. I've already done one of them. I'm starting with the larger frame and I have 2 individual frames that I'm going to glue on top. I'm just putting glue on the underside of one of my thin frame pieces, and then I'm just gluing it right over that opening. You can flip your piece over and just make sure that it's properly positioned. I'm going to do that with the second one as well. Then I'm putting glue on the underside of the larger frame and positioning it over the cutouts that are on my main piece. So right underneath my windows, you'll see the score lines for 4 little shapes. But that's to help me position the rest of my decorative pieces. So I'm just putting glue on the underside of my little shutter piece, and I am centering it as best I can on that solid piece. That's the offset of that shape. I'm going to do that for all 4 of them. So now I'm putting glue on the underside of each one of them, and then gluing them down within the outlines that are scored on my base piece. And so that's 2 of them done. I'm going to do the 2 others exactly the same way. So next I'm attaching my columns to the crown part of my tower. I've already assembled one of them. So I'm just folding down on all the score lines that are along that crown piece. I'm putting glue from this score line all the way to that score line on the underside of my piece. I'm bringing my glue straight across the top, so I don't want any glue on the 3 points. And then I'm positioning my column so that it's centered on the 3 points, and the edge of my column is right at the cut edge of this piece, like so. And then I'm going in with my bone folder, just making sure that glue takes, and then I'm folding this back on either side, like so. So I'm doing that with the other side as well. I'm putting glue on the 3 central parts, and then I'm placing my piece so that it's flush at the top, and I'm going in with my bone folder and reinforcing that glue, like so. And then I have these pointed pieces. I'm just covering the underside in glue and then just gluing them right to the center, matching up the points. I have 2 others to do. All 4 of them go together the exact same way. All right, so next I have this off-white piece, which is the door to my tower. I'm scrolling down the score lines at the top and at the side, and the 2 tabs at the bottom, and then on the score lines that create the 2 doors. So next I have 8 of these pieces, and these pieces have score lines all along. I'm just folding down on the score lines. I have 2 of the short columns from the bottom, and I'm just using them to help shape. I'm folding down on the score line, making sure that they create this type of shape. And so I have 8 of them, and I'm folding all 8 the exact same way. So now I have all these columns that are hiding my tabs. What I want to do is I want to glue them down. So I'm just putting glue on the underside of them, and then I'm just folding them down and gluing them to the exterior of my tower. I'm putting my hand inside and applying a little bit of pressure to help make sure that that glue takes. I've glued in 6 columns, and I'm going to glue all 6 of them down the same way. Next I have a piece of acetate. This is Cricut acetate, so I'm removing liner on both sides. I'm applying some double-sided tape down the length on both edges of my acetate piece. I'm removing the liner on my double-sided tape. I'm placing it so it's centered flush on both ends. And then I have my 2 remaining columns with the tabs. And for these 2, I'm just going to glue down those tabs. Then I'm running some double-sided tape all along the underside of that piece. So right along the whole thing over the tabs. Then I'm releasing the liner, and I'm placing my column right on top of the edge of my base layer. And I'm doing that on the other side as well. Now I'm going to glue in my bottom piece. I'm putting on that top tab. So on the left, I'm putting it from the edge until the score line for the door, and the same thing on the right. I'm just tucking it under and just gluing in those side pieces. And I'm putting glue all along the tab that's at the side, and I'm tucking it inside. I'm rotating it to get a better view, but I just want the cut edge here to be right along the score line. And then I'm putting glue on the tab that's on the left hand side, so the brick part. So I want the cut edge here to be right along the score line of my tab. So now I'm going to insert the panel that goes on the top, and I fold it down on the score lines on the side and not the bottom. So I'm putting glue on that side tab from the score line to the edge, and on the tab that's on my tower. I'm just inserting that tab at the bottom underneath, just sneaking it in there. So I want the cut edge to be right at the score line of my tab, and I want the tops to be even. And then I'm just putting glue along the base here, and I'm just gluing that in too. Now I have the 2 columns that go at the top. I'm just putting glue on the underside, including the 2 columns. And I'm positioning them. I want to position them so the columns meet up, and I'm just gluing this in place. And then I'm going to take one of my decorative window pieces. I'm putting glue on the underside of it, and then I'm placing it right between my 2 columns. So my windows are right over that opening. And then I'm taking one of those pieces that I folded over before, and then I'm just placing it over the join between my columns about halfway. So I'm going to work my way around the tower, just gluing those top sections in place. So now that I've finished the 4 sides along the top, I'm going to glue down my columns on the bottom. So I'm putting glue on the wider side of my column, gluing it as straight as I can, just underneath the column from the middle part. I want this to be as straight as possible. I'm gluing in both of them, and then I'm taking one of those long strips. I'm just covering up the seam. The seam is about halfway along the middle of my strip. And I'm just repeating those steps for all 4 sides of the bottom part of my tower. So now I'm going to build a little box that goes at the base of my tower. I want the ball to automatically roll out the door. So I'm just folding down on all the score lines. So I'm looking at the interior of my box, and I'm going to fold down these 2 tabs and put glue all over them from the score line to the edge. And then I'm bringing this back panel up, and I'm gluing my tabs, and my tabs fit right against that back panel, like so. Next, I'm going to bring this whole part down, and I'm putting glue on the small triangle at the top and then along the tab that's just below it. And I'm going to push this side down. My diagonal edge goes right against the side of that triangle, and my straight edge is right along the score line of that tab. I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side, putting glue on the triangle that's at the top and on the tab that's just below it. I'm gluing the straight edge of my side to the long tab. I'm just putting my hand inside. I'm just gluing down my triangular piece to the diagonal edge of my side. So I'm just pushing on my sides to bring these score lines in line, and this part gets folded under, so this is what creates that incline that I'm looking for, so the ball doesn't get stuck at the back of my tower. I'm moved to the front here. I'm putting a little bit of glue on the side of that tab. I'm folding over that side tab to form a nice 90-degree angle here. And then I'm covering those tabs with glue and then folding over those panels to the center and gluing them in place. And then I'm left with the tab at the bottom. I'm putting glue on the underside of that tab, and then I'm just folding it over and pinching it to the bottom of my box. So if the ball lands, it'll automatically go towards the center and come out the front. So this is the base for my tower. So this is just the thick cardstock that comes with my paper packs, and I've colored green around the edges just so that it won't show so much when I glue this piece on top. But first I'm going to take the box that I've just created and I'm going to put glue on the bottom of it. I have these little cutouts in my base piece, so I'm imagining that the cutouts form a square. I'm just trying to center it as best I can. I forgot my door pieces, so I've cut these two pieces out of pattern cardstock that looks like wood grain. I'm putting glue all over those flaps for the door, and then each door gets glued to the bottom and right along the score line of the door. And I'm taking the base piece. I have those 8 tabs at the bottom. I'm inserting them in the slots that are on my base piece, and then I'm putting glue on the tabs and folding them backwards and gluing them onto my green platform. I'm putting glue all over that heavier cardstock and just gluing it right to the bottom of that green panel. So hard to show, but that's the tower part done. So these are my sliding panels. I'm adhering the pull tabs onto my sliding panels, and I have some for the right hand side and some for the left hand side, and the only difference is what shows towards the front of your panel. So for the right hand side, I'm taking one of my panels and then I'm taking 2 of my circular pieces. I'm holding it with the slit and then I'm folding it upwards so that side is folded in half. I'm taking my other circle, and with that slit at the top, I'm folding that quarter of the circle away from me. Then I'm putting glue on 1/2 of my circular piece, and I am gluing the second one right on top. So I'm left with these 2 flaps, and when I fold on them, I have a slit to insert my panel. I'm putting glue on that flap and then just gluing it right to the edge. The point of that piece should land right on the point of my panel. I'm going to flip my piece around and I'm doing the same thing on that other quarter piece, gluing it down right along the edge, and the point should meet up with the point of my panel. So that's the right hand done. For my left hand, I'm holding it with the slit down and I'm folding upwards. Then I'm taking a second piece and I'm folding away from me, like so. And then I'm putting glue on half that circle and I'm gluing my other circle to it. I'm inserting my panel in between and I'm putting glue on that quarter of the circle and gluing it so that it's flush with the edge and right where my panel changes direction. I'm going to flip my piece over, and I'm doing that on the other side as well. So I'm just going to finish up the couple that I have left. So next I'm just inserting my slide-in panels.